mindset and do not absolutely touch anything. But it's hard to pick up on all that unless you put some time between your loss and your next entry. I promise you, your next entry is going to be impulsive. It's going to be just reckless, stupid shit. Everybody does that. Everybody does that on their first drawdown. Everybody does it. It's weird. I literally, it would be amazing if people would do a testimonial and say, yeah, this is what it was like, and try to walk everybody that would be willing to listen to it. I'd love it. Like, I would love it if there would be a channel on YouTube. And I'm willing to be the one to do the first submission to it. What it was like on my first losing trade that took me into drawdown and I blew my first account. I would absolutely have no problem doing that, with the expectation that other people would do it too. And you know, you would hear, it would be like someone saying the same thing from the same fucking script. It's amazing how it always happens. It's the same shit. What goes on in our mind, what we're thinking, what we're fearful of, what we have to do right away. It needs to happen right now, for fuck's sake. I got to get my money back. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't need to do that. But you do when you're live streaming, and you got to make yourself look smart. You're going to prove to the world you can trade better than ICT. Fuck, maximum loss day. That was insane. Man, I wish he'd start YouTube and live again. Missing it. But the point is this. My son wrecked himself. No problem. You got a flat tire. You got a fender bender. It is what it is. Dad knows how to fix that. No problem. But I can't fix what he's holding on in his brain as things to worry about, what to focus on. That needs to be guided, instructed, navigated with proper encouragement, but still allowing for that sting. I need that to be there for at least another week or so. Like, he needs to fear himself, not the market, because that's what it's like when this industry puts you through something like this. It exposes you. It doesn't make your method, the teacher that taught you, the concept itself, it doesn't make any of that any different than what it was before you did something improper. It makes you shine a spotlight right on you. You, the operator, the person that pushed that button, the person that opened themselves up to risk. You were the one driving the car. You were the one that got drunk. You were the one that caused all that carnage. And you have to own it. And some people that come to this industry aren't equipped to own it. They want to blame everything and someone else for their stupidity, their impulsiveness, their lack of self-control. And you have to own it. And you have to be strong and identify it. As soon as you start feeling that way, identify what it is. It's not weakness to stop trading. It's not weakness to go home and draw down. That is not weakness. That is absolutely the right way to do it. You have to be able to take losses. Go home with them. It's okay. The market's going to be there. Opportunities will present themselves again. And that equity high is not a family heirloom that you've lost in a fire. It's not an insurmountable peak on a mountain that you're never going to be able to get back to. It's not Mount Everest. I don't know if you ever noticed or did. There's a lot of documentaries about Mount Everest rather. And I would never climb that place. I would never do that. I'm afraid of heights. I ain't going to be afraid to say it. I have vertigo. And if I watch a video on YouTube where people are really high up, I literally feel like I'm falling off the couch. And I'm in my home, but I literally feel like I'm going to fall looking like that. I don't have the ability to handle that. But you're not looking at that equity high that you slip down and draw down from and viewing that as Mount Everest. And listening to documentaries about Mount Everest, there's a lot of people that climb up there and die up there. and they can't go up there and get them. They just, that's where they drop. That's where they lay. And the cold temperature just keeps them, you know, how they were when they dropped. Just because you want to climb back up there again, you know, you don't want to die on the ascent, much like a lot of people do trying to climb Mount Everest. Healthy, fit people have died climbing up there. They went too fast. You have to go up a little while, you know, rest, let yourself get accustomed to that height. Same way when you're coming down, much like a scuba diver. You go down, you have to go down at a controlled pace. And you got to come up a controlled pace to allow the blood to regulate. Otherwise, you'll get the bends. And that's not fun. But that equity high that you fell from, you're going to go there again, but you don't have to go there right away. It's just like when you went to your favorite vacation destination. You went there, the drive was great. You couldn't wait to see the new equity high in your new trades. Okay, great. You get a new equity high. Wonderful. You show your wife, okay, big deal. It's a new high score. And then you want to impress her. What do? Take the next trade because you feel like you're right there. It's almost at that target I'm looking for. This is another thing I'd like to see. How many people did their ass in when they were just trying to get to a target that they have already assigned? Like, I have to get to this level. This is my target. And they may have got out of a trade that just fell short. Like I'm talking like 20 fucking bucks. Something so simple like that. I just missed my target. As a 20-year-old, I did stupid shit like that. I was trading copper one time. And I literally fell short of it one point. And that would have been the number that I was aiming for. And there was time still left in the day. I said, all right, let me just go in here real quick and do one more. In that one single contract, trying to get to that level, it was a losing trade. So what happened? The same thing happened with my son on Friday morning. Fuck. Well, I got to get that back now. I don't care if I get my target today. I got to get that back because that's just not going to be acceptable. So I did another trade, and it was another losing trade. So now I'm in the wrong state of mind, but I don't know this. I don't know enough about myself. I don't know that this is what goes on in the minds of traders that are now hopped up on risk and gambling. I'm not looking at if I get it wrong. I'm only looking at I'm going to get it right if I just keep doing it long enough. I'll get it back. And that's the wrong mentality. Because when you're distorted and you're all bent up and trying to pursue something that is not, it's not a viable trade. You're trying to impose your will. You want what you want. And what have you done? You grabbed your club as a caveman, walked out your cave, and you're looking for something to bonk over its head and drag it back to your cave and say it's mine. And that's what I did. And then ended up not making 3 profitable trades to get back the losses. Then I switched and I traded cotton and then blew the account that day. All because I had a target that I was just 1 point away from. And I felt so certain that it was going to trade to that level and allow me to get to it. It was a pursuit to have my will, well, come to fruition. Not, is there really a trade here? is there really a trade here that makes sense? No, absolutely not. But I would love to hear stories like that from other traders where they just fell short of a target that they had to have. And they pushed the envelope. They pushed the trade. They pushed more trades because they had to get that number. They had to get that target. And they blew themselves. I know I'm not the only one that's ever had that experience. I know. There has to be more of you out there that's done that. If you have, you just say, hey, I did that dumb shit too. And look where you're at now, what you are learning. That wasn't the end of your career. That didn't do you in where you don't want to trade anymore. It's an unfortunate thing. It was a car accident that, you totaled that car. It sucks, I know. But it's not the end of it. You have to slow yourself down Apply the brakes. Put some time in between the last thing you just did to yourself that's caused pain, drawdown, an adverse result that you did not want to have, but now you're stuck with. So now how are you going to deal with it? Are you going to allow it? Is my son going to allow this to frame a toxic mindset going forward? Is he going to be fearful of things now? Is he going to be afraid to take trade entries now more so because remember that's how he started? He's afraid. And what did he do? He listened to my lecturing saying, this is how you overcome it. This is how you don't fear it. So he just plunged trying to overcome fear. But he tried to do it with his funded account, not the demo. He did the classic, I want to get in there and start making money. I got to learn how to trade with real money. If you want to learn how to trade, you got to start with a real account because demos don't do it. That's bullshit. And here's my own flesh and blood proving it. You got to listen to me, folks. You have to listen to me. I've done this to myself dozens of times. If anybody knows how this is going to happen over and over again, I fucking know. I'm qualified to teach that. I absolutely am certain that there is nobody out there better equipped to be able to say, look, these are the characteristics that's going to result in you harming yourself. And if you do the opposite of these things and do the things I tell you to replace these toxic views, you're probably going to stand a better chance of not having done that again or ever in the future. And that's a pretty good target to reach for if you're a new trader. If you've never blown your account, it's not required for you to do that. Like that's not something that we're sitting around, and I always use this analogy a lot, but in Jaws, the first one, you know, they're sitting in the cabin part and they're all showing each other, the worst scars they got. They're always trying to one up the next guy. You know how it is. You got a friend or somebody at work, Carl. He's got something that's much more than what you went through. Something better or something he had to endure that was worse than that. That fucking kind of person gets on my nerves. Well, you don't need to do that with trading. You don't need to blow an account. Yeah, I blew an account too. ICT. Look at that. I got the war scar. Look at that. Fuck that. You don't need to do that. Who wants to do that? I want to create all of you monsters out here where you don't have that scar tissue and say, you know what? I didn't have to go through that. I want you to be able to say, I never blew my account. But the chances of that, I'm aware of that happening is very slim. But I know if I keep doing what I'm doing, invariably, there's going to be at least one of you. One of you will find consistency, profitability, in not having blown your account. But chances are it's going to be a very, very, very small number that get that. Because the human body, the human mind, emotions, and how psychology works, you'll have this experience like my son. You'll feel this impulsiveness where you think that there's emergency. You created a drawdown, and that emergency in your head is not an emergency that's in the real world. Yes, you did something wrong. Yes, you don't have the equity in the account that you had before you did that. So what? When you put your trade on, guess what happens? You didn't have, at that moment, the same equity high. Commissions coming out. You're under a spread. You got to overcome that. You fell off your equity high. Maybe not so dramatically, but you got to put things in perspective. When you put a trade on, the trade might draw down intra trade. That means before stopping out and before closure. Guess what you're doing there? You're in drawdown. Are you losing your shit because of that? Some of you will be after drawdown. You'll be thinking it's the end of the world. Oh my goodness, it just moved 6 ticks. What the hell am I going to do? Ticks, not handles. But you'll be so sensitive, hypersensitive to that. And it's hard to wrestle through that. I cannot, as a mentor, listen to me, folks, okay? This is the reason why I teach this way. I cannot, as your mentor, I can't fix what you do to yourself once you get in that mind state. Or state of mind, rather. I don't have a way to fix what you have done emotionally and psychologically to yourself and how you're thinking and how you're talking to yourself. I'm not in your head. I don't know what you're saying to yourself. I don't know what you're convincing yourself was the real culprit that caused you to go into drawdown. But I can promise you this, it's not the things that you're thinking at that time was the real catalyst. It's not me. It's not the concepts. It's not the market. It's not the dealer. It's not the broker. It's you. It's always going to be you. When I got my CDL, a commercial driver's license, as a younger man, one of the lessons that you learn as a commercial driver is as soon as you get in a car accident, you are absolutely the reason why the accident happened. That you're the professional driver. And if there's a lawsuit because you caused an accident or you were part of an accident, lawyers love when there's a semi truck, a commercial driver involved. And they want to go through the whole process of looking at your logbook. And if your logbook isn't up to par, if you fake a logbook or if you do two logbooks, because back in the days, that's how it used to be. And you could run illegal long term and, or not long, like long haul. And you could do a lot more hauls, which were illegal to do that. But long story short, they wanted to look at your logs. And if you lied on your log and you're saying that you were here at this time, you came on duty, started driving at this time, but you are further away from that, that lawyer has a slam dunk case because he's saying, here's your logbook where this is a federal document now. Like you are logging this, much like an airline pilot. Because when you're driving a tractor trailer, this shit is a airplane on the ground without wings. So everything you're doing with this machinery is regulated. So if you're lying on your chart where you're doing your change of duty status from off duty, not driving to driving, and you're speeding, and you've been speeding for a while, and you cover a lot more distance. If you get pulled over or have an accident, the trooper or the person that's going to be able to look at your logbook, he sees that there's no way where you came on duty and where you are right now, there's no way you could have done that. So he has a slam dunk case as a lawyer, because if I was the lawyer, I'd go and say, okay, listen, you're absolutely at fault because by your own testimony in your logbook, it states that you were coming on duty in this town of this state at that time. How the hell are you able to be in this accident? If you came on duty there, that means you were speeding. If you're going to go into court in a situation like that, that lawyer is going to win every fucking time because he's going to say, if you were really doing this, this accident never would have happened and my clients wouldn't be injured or have their property damaged. And that's exactly what happens to tractor trailer drivers when they go to court. The lawyers always go through the logbooks because it's a slam dunk, guaranteed that they're winning. And the driver may not have been the real reason for the accident, but because that tractor trailer is in part of it, they're going to get it. They're the professional driver. The common driver, the four-wheelers that they're involved in these tractor trailer accidents, they're the ones, generally are the ones that are causing the accident. But because they don't realize it takes a football field for a tractor trailer to come to a complete stop, they do their brake checks into a tractor trailer, which is fucking stupid. You don't realize that that's the reason how these trucks are not trying to run people over. But when someone gets in front of them and do dumb shit, they can't just stop these vehicles. It takes time. And they also want to live. They don't want to do something stupid and cause a jackknife. And then they not only kill themselves, but other people. And you're probably thinking, what the hell is this got to do with anything? The point is responsibility. Responsibility. Just like a tractor trailer driver, a commercial driver has to have full responsibility. Once they start that vehicle and they start moving it, they are at a higher level of accountability as a driver than you and I that drive around with a common Class C license. I don't have a Class A anymore. I gave it up years ago, but I wanted to keep it because if I got an RV with air brakes, but my Class A doesn't have air brakes, so I don't need to keep it. And I have no interest in ever getting it again. But you have to be responsible. You have to know that when you cause this damage to yourself, you own it. And some of you, just like some of these tractor trailer drivers, should not be drivers. They're reckless, driving and texting and doing dumb shit. And I did that stuff. I literally drove a truck with my left foot on the steering wheel, eating ramen noodles over the Key Bridge with high winds. And I was steering with my foot, eating ramen noodles. Why? Because I thought the fucking world was never going to be able to touch me. I was 20 years old. Everything was, whatever. And I'm trying to trade the markets like that. A cowboy. Cowboy up. Now looking back at it, it scares me to think the dumb shit I did, which was reckless. And I had people calling into my company I was working for saying, your driver is driving down the road with his foot on the steering wheel steering and he's eating a bowl of cereal, which it wasn't cereal, it was ramen noodles. But the point is, I told my boss then, Glenn, he was like, hey, are you doing that? I'm like, yeah, but I wasn't eating fucking cereal. So, the point is, I owned it, right? But it still doesn't change the fact that it was reckless. It was reckless. A high wind could have took me, into the other lane, and I could not have not over, but I couldn't have compensated for that and steered it properly because I was using my fucking foot to steer while I was eating, which was dumb. But that's what arrogance is like when you're a 20-year-old. You think you can just do whatever you can, and there's no consequences. There's no death. You don't have any concern about mortality, yours or anyone else's. And when you're young and you're in a market like this, that same type of reckless abandonment materializes. And now, when you're met with drawdown, that cracks that sphere of invincibility, that force field that you thought you had all this time because you're young and you think you're going to live forever. And even if you break a bone, who gives a shit? You're young enough, it won't be that big of a deal. Now, you lost your force field. Something got inside and touched you. And drawdown shows you how you're going to react. Not just then, but how you're going to react in the future every time you go through drawdown. And if you don't handle it properly or learn how to do it appropriately and talk yourself through it, remind yourself there is no emergency, you will be stressed out always as a trader, even being profitable. And that sounds like it could be technically impossible. How can you be highly stressed out but still profitable? High stakes trading. High stakes trading. Um, I'm just going to say this, and Tom Hugard, we've been talking in private. He knows that I respect him, and I'm not saying anything out of place here. It's not to say anything bad, but I don't subscribe to his approach to trading because he bets a lot. He bets a lot, and he's allowing himself and the people that follow him go through wild swings of profitability and drawdown, profitability and drawdown. And as a younger man, that would have been fine for me. Like I didn't care about that. But over time, blowing out accounts and having just horrendous drawdowns and periods of not being able to turn it around, it made me not want to be able to do that. Like I don't want to stomach that. Like I want to be in precisely, know what I'm looking for, and not see those types of wild, crazy equity swings. So to me, high stakes trading is high stress trading. And it may feel euphoric when you win and you feel like you've did an Olympic feat, and you have technically. I'm not trying to take away from any of that because it really is impressive when it works. But the problem is you're going through that process and you're placing your body under so much stress, so much stress. When you constantly pump in cortisol in your body, it's actually having an effect on your vascular system. The valves in your arteries and veins, all that stuff, it's beat up. It's not meant to have that. Like racing fuel in a car. Yeah, it's go, 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 baby, but it tears it up. Like you can't do these these things to yourself long term and not have a consequence. My stomach, I tore up my stomach with acid because of stress as a young man, that I literally could not even drink water without it hurting. I stressed myself out so much with this shit that I created an eating disorder. Went down to 150 pounds. I was 195 pounds and I was put together. Like I was Mr. Wonderful in my eyes. But this industry changed all that because of stress. I couldn't eat, and to be built, you have to feed the body. You have to eat. And I couldn't tolerate even drinking. And I went to inshores and I was literally on a liquid diet for a year and a half because I couldn't take physical food, which made me weak, which made me susceptible to getting sick more often. And that fear of eating food because of the pain created an eating disorder, which I carried for years. Where did it come from? Trading. Where in trading did it really stem from? Doing stupid shit that I tell you to avoid, but no one was telling me because I didn't have anybody like I'm talking to you. I didn't have that.